Hey there, welcome to the DFS Build NBA edition. Happy Friday to everybody tuning in, and we appreciate you if you're watching live. If not, hopefully we can help you as we get ready to prepare for this big-ish DraftKings main slate for NBA DFS. Our goal, as always, is to help you win some cash. We're going to break down every single spot here, and look at the top plays, maybe some value plays, factor in ownership projections, all that fun stuff with the goal to help you win. If you want finalized core plays for Friday slate, head over to dfsbuild.com. Just $5.99 a month to get access to those every single day, plus everything else that we do. We have MMA plays out for this weekend, NHL when it comes back, MLB when it comes back, and of course NFL when the season eventually comes back as well. It's sad, but it's gone for a while, my friends. All right, so let's get to it though. Let's win some money in NBA DFS right away. If we do help you, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you want even more advice, but this time for free, head over to our Discord, which is linked in our YouTube channel. And if you have questions while this is live, hit the comments. We'll be glad to answer them as we go, or even in the comments as well. All right, so we saw the Pacers and Wizards this very matchup yesterday, and here we go again. Taylor and I literally talked about the fact that Walker was like the only safe play in that game, and sure enough, he got 50 fantasy points. And what happened? Nembhard played like 19 minutes. And then who's the other guy? Neesmith, who quote unquote got hurt. So why don't you tell them what we're definitely going to talk about? And that's that we don't want anything to do with this game for the most part.
Yeah, it's a little different today just because Nembhard is doubtful and Neesmith, I think, is out. So like they are thinner in theory going in. McConnell's questionable. He didn't play last night. We don't know if he'll play today. I imagine if McConnell plays, he's going to play his usual like 13 to 15 minutes and not really matter. So yesterday, Walker played about 30 minutes. Jay Huff, an old journeyman, old relative to other Indiana Pacers, that is, like played 20 minutes. He was still good, but 20 minutes into significant ownership, not what you want. Micah Potter played more off the bench. Kobe Brown played a lot because Neesmith got hurt. Kobe started the second half. Quentin Jackson was also unavailable last night. We don't know if he'll play tonight, but I assume he will. And then we saw guys like Taylon Peter. Cam Jones got hurt as well. Ethan Thompson played a lot in the second half. So I think, assuming Walker's in, he's not on the report, so he should be good. As a former lottery pick, I feel pretty good about him continuing to get minutes because they just kind of want to see what he can do in more of a usage role than he normally plays. So I feel fine with him. It's a great spot. Like the Wizards are awful. We know this. 6,400 is more expensive than he was last night, but pretty safe play, I think, overall. I'm still fine with that. I think QJ is okay. I think he was like 41 yesterday when he didn't play, and now he's 4,600. So it's like not amazing, but without Nembhard, he should play a lot in theory. I think he's a fine play. I think Kobe Brown is a pretty good play also at 4-3. Just they're thinner on forward types than they are on guards. So I think Brown's going to play a lot. I'm okay with him. Not a great play, but like I don't think he'll be that owned. So I do think he's interesting. And then I think if Potter plays, he's fine. But if, I'm probably not going to play Jay Huff again tonight after playing him last night.
Well, okay, so I absolutely agree. It's definitely potentially very different than it was yesterday. Like right now, if all these guys are questionable play, they have 10 guys. So with 10 guys and based off how they, did things yesterday, I'm pretty in on Walker still. Like if I can get 30 minutes on Walker at 6.4K in this matchup, I'm fine with that. I think it looks great. If they extend him, even better. If Potter is out, then I'm like okay with going to Huff because then like they just have a shortage of bigs. Like they just don't have that many guys they can use. If Potter's in, I would play Potter a little bit and fade Huff completely. And then it comes down to like, is TJ for sure in? Cam Jones is questionable. Is he out? Then we can start looking at Quentin Jackson and stuff. But if these other guys are in and Jackson's up to 4-6, like I think we can safely get away from that. But otherwise, we could be looking at like 7 to 8 bodies here. Then the Pacers become very interesting because you can't sit everybody. So people have to play in that scenario. So something to keep an eye on. Right now, I'm just on Walker and nothing else. But if they have a shortage of bodies, like if Potter and Cam Jones both get ruled out, then I will turn right back around and be very interested in them. The Wizards side, they just have a ton of guys. They still don't have Sar, but they have all these other dudes. It's the same exact thing we talked about yesterday. Sure, one of these guys could nuke in like 25 minutes. I mean, Anthony Gill played 30 minutes and nuked legacy game yesterday. I don't know how much he full nuke. 29 is a nuking for Anthony Gill, I'd say. And Vucevic, 4.8K now. He was 4-3 yesterday. He was still a good play. He got 34 fantasy points in 17 minutes. Why are they only giving him 17 minutes and giving Anthony Gill 30? I don't know, man. So what do you make of the Wizards?
Yeah, it is a little different than it was yesterday. With Keyshawn George being out, he played last night. He played 18 minutes, so he didn't play a lot, but that is a notable name currently missing. So Jameer Watkins didn't play yesterday, which was not expected. I think a lot of places sat him projected for like 20 plus minutes, and he did not play. But with Keyshawn out, he's 4-4, should have a role. I don't think he's a great play because he is not like a super punt at 4-4, but I think he's okay. It's just a disaster. Like, this team does have enough bodies. It's a bunch of guys you don't want to play. It's a bunch of guys who may not even be NBA players. Like Koulibaly on a back-to-back, given his injury history, not really into that. Sharif Cooper, I think at 4-2 is probably the most interesting piece overall, just because he's had a role. He's been playing 20 plus off the bench. He's been good per minute as well. And Indiana, as we know, is not a very capable defensive team. So I have more interest in Cooper than I did yesterday. I think you can make a case for Alondas Williams at 3K flat, 27 minutes last night. Just a full-on punt at 3K. I think you can do worse than that. Like, clearly the Wizards are tanking as well. The Wizards won last night.
Oops.
They don't want to do that. So I think, guys like Champagny, Carrington, even Koulibaly, I think are at risk of being pretty short minutes-wise. So I'd be more focused on Cooper, Williams, I think Watkins, and then to a lesser extent, maybe Will Riley, but he also barely played last night.
Yeah, I completely agree with you as far as who we're targeting here. If anything, I still am just going to go complete fade here. There's other value on the slate that we can attack with like way more confidence. Absolutely. Watkins, maybe even Tristan gets a little bit more run. Will Riley, Sharif Cooper, they're playable in terms of price, but I feel like all these guys are just going to play like 25 minutes. Like, maybe somebody plays more than expected, like Anthony Gill did yesterday, but it's just not the kind of gamble I want to take on this slate. So I'm out on the Wizards personally. Cavs and Hornets, they are in Charlotte, 5-point spread. Cleveland is favored. Evan Mobley taking the night off after playing last night. Both these teams played yesterday, by the way. That's insane. Donovan Mitchell and James Harden both look really, really good here. It's still not a good spot, though. Charlotte has been really good defensively. It is in Charlotte. It's the second leg of a back-to-back set. If you look at just pure usage, like Spida gets a big lift with Mobley off the floor. So because of that, like you can play Donovan Mitchell, and obviously James Harden has a ceiling and he's only 9K, so you can play James Harden. Not really getting to them. But it is a slate short on studs. So if you want to play one of those guys, I don't have a problem with it at all. And then they're pretty full. Like, they have everybody else here. Like, I gave Sam Merrill a shout yesterday. That didn't work out. 11 fantasy points against the Nets. The spot up shooting thing did not come to fruition for him. But anyways, it's Mitchell and Harden. And that's pretty much it. Like, they just have too many other guys that are just going to eat into each other.
Yeah, the only real reason to play guys like Harden and Donovan is, like you said, there's not a lot to pay for beyond like Jalen Johnson and maybe Anthony Edwards on this slate. So, yeah, like you can play these guys just because you need raw points and they're pretty likely to get them. I do think this game should be good at least. So, like last night they were playing fucking Brooklyn and they just murdered the hell out of them. And tonight it's Charlotte, both on back-to-back. Charlotte's pretty good now. Cleveland on the road. No Mobley. So I do kind of like getting to the Harden Mitchell, not together, but individually duo. I just think because the game should be competitive, there's a chance they go more. They're definitely going to be lower owned than Johnson. I think they'll be lower owned than Edwards probably. I think they kind of eat into each other. Like, Harden when Kawhi was out and Mitchell before the trade, was much more appealing. But I do still think they both offer ceilings. So Harden's a slightly better value. Mitchell has shooting guard, so take your pick. They're kind of the same play. That's about it, though. I think Allen's still a bit pricey. He does have a ceiling without Mobley, we've seen. So you can take a shot on that. Charlotte's bigs are not particularly good right now. And then Tyson is 5'5", should start again with Mobley out. I think that's a bit cheap, but they do have a deep bench now. It's just a very good team in general. So not super excited to get to anyone beyond the top two.
Yeah, I was going to say in terms of role when he's on the floor and price, he's okay. But yeah, they got Schroeder, they got Merrill, they got Keon Ellis, they got Tomlin and Wade. They just have all these other guys that they're going to rotate in. So not really the ideal spot to expect a smash. And then, to your point, the Mitchell and Harden thing, both completely playable. I would split them up as well, just because, Harden is basically the creator on this offense, which takes playmaking away from Spida to a certain degree. So Spida probably has to come out and hit 35, 40 real points to pay off, right? So I don't know. I just feel like if there's a chance or a situation where one of them is not in, then they're just a very obvious play. But I just feel like both of them hitting their ceiling, especially on the road, maybe tired against a good team. I don't love it. LaMelo at 8.8 on the other side. I don't like that. His price is coming up. The Cavs are not a super scary matchup these days, but they're getting better than they were. So I don't know, man. Don't like that at 8.8. I think Brandon Miller is a little bit more palatable. Still don't love that either. Khan at 7.3 feels a bit high. They are down Miles Bridges. Grant Williams is out now, who smashed yesterday, by the way. So I'm not really into the price points here. I think they're playable, especially if you're playing Harden or Mitchell. If I had to play one, I guess it would be LaMelo based off of ceiling, but I don't like that price. As far as value, Kalkbrenner at 5K against Jared Allen, don't really love that. Your boy, PJ Hall, 3.4K. I think you can go right back to the well. No Grant Williams. He's going to get a little bit of a burn. Didn't get enough minutes or do anything with them yesterday, but if he can get 20 minutes in this spot, at 3.4K, he could pay off that price tag.
Yeah, I think he's okay. He's not my favorite punt on Charlotte today, but the minutes should be okay. He's cheap. He only took one shot last night. It was against Houston. This matchup is not a lot better against Jared Allen and the tough Cleveland interior defense, but he's okay. I think I prefer Miller among the spends just because he's small forward, but he is also quite pricey himself at 8.3, but the usage is always there without Bridges. My favorite punt in this game is Tijon Salon. He's 3,600, should start with Bridges and now Williams out. He's been pretty good per minute. Last year he was a rookie. He was kind of a disaster. This season he looks a lot better. And he's 3,600 on a slate with a lot of value, so no one's going to play him at all. The Memphis value that we'll talk about is obviously better overall. But if you do need some ownership discount on a cheap play, I think Salon is pretty interesting in this spot.
Yeah, I don't hate it just in terms of price and increased role here with Grant Williams out. I also don't love it because he's not really that reliable. But he should get 15, 20 minutes here, maybe 20 plus actually. So it's worth a flyer. I won't be getting there personally. I'm just going to do one lineup tonight. But yeah. All right. So Jazz and Grizzlies. Markkanen is questionable. Nurkic is out. Keontae George is out. So the Jazz could still mess with our hearts and brains here for sure. Isaiah Collier looks okay at 8.2, a little bit expensive. Filipowski, if Lowry and Nurkic are out, I think he looks totally fine at 6.9. But again, are the Jazz really going to listen to Adam Silver? Are they really going to play nice? I don't trust it. I think if you were going to play a Utah guy, I would go with Collier, but at 8.2, he's getting a little bit pricey for me.
Yeah, it's a good spot. I just don't love it. He's not playing all 48 minutes anymore, sadly. That was a fun little 2-game stretch for him.
Yeah.
I do think the best guy here is Filipowski, even if Markkanen is in, just because no Nurkic. Filipowski is very good per minute. He's still kind of affordable relative to the ceiling he's shown in these situations before. if Markkanen's out, he's going to get a lot more popular, and he's kind of a smash. I think he's an awesome play in that scenario. I still think he's good even if Markkanen plays, because I feel like if Markkanen plays, he's going to play for like 15 minutes or something stupid. So Filipowski looks pretty good. I do like Sensabaugh kind of always in a tournament, just because he's a guy who's going to go out there and shoot. He can fill it up. Memphis is extremely shorthanded and not good defensively to begin with. So Sensabaugh is a very interesting sub 6K salary or 6K value with shooting guard, small forward. I like. I prefer him to Ace. I just think Ace is kind of pricey for what he's done. Just very scoring dependent. Not a great player at this stage of his career. So Filipowski's good. Sensabaugh's good. That's about it.
Yeah, I would not play Lowry. Like at a bare minimum, they're going
No,
to
absolutely
limit. They're going to limit his minutes for sure.
Yeah.
Why
They
not?
gave him
Like,
a downgrade this
Silver
morning.
get
Like
specific?
he went from in to questionable with an illness.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, they will be kind of short if Lowry's out. So I think Collier is completely playable, by the way. Filipowski, yeah, I agree. Filipowski looks good too. So like those two guys could be like foundational pieces on any other slate. Honestly, it's just we have, I think, better plays. So we don't have to do that. But if they're going to be like low owned, that's pretty interesting. Agree with you. Sensabaugh always is a fun tourney try, but definitely has a low floor there. On the other side, Memphis is definitely shorthanded. No John Morant, no Ty Jerome. They have like no bigs to speak of that they're used to actually playing because they traded away Jaren Jackson Jr. So this team is definitely one that spreads it out in terms of minutes. So pretty decent chance nobody tops 30 minutes in this game, even though they're kind of shorthanded. But they're all going to play, and they're all going to play about 25 to 30 minutes most likely. So I think every single person on this team is viable, but it's tough to like completely fall in love with a lot of them. That said, I think Prosper at 3.5K is a smash play in this spot. Amazing matchup, decent per minute guy actually, and he's been producing for them. He's going to play probably more than most of the other guys on this team. Cam Spencer is a guy that's going to pop, and I do like him a little bit, but I feel like he's one of the guys here that they would limit more than the others, like Javon Small, Jalen Wells, Meshack. Like these guys could steal minutes from Cam Spencer if Memphis wanted to, be lame and annoying. And then GG Jackson at 5'4", he obviously could absolutely smash even in 29 minutes, which he's projected for. So Memphis looks really good across the board. How much can you trust any individual pick? That is open for debate.
Yeah, you're going to have to play this team. I cannot imagine building a lineup with none of them. And probably every lineup will have more than one of them just because they're so thin. They have 9, I think. And they're all cheap. Cam Spencer is the most expensive at 5'5", with Jackson at 5'4". And they're playing Utah. So like we've run into this situation seemingly every slate with the Jazz where they're playing this team who's really shorthanded. Utah, while they've been better defensively lately, that was mostly with like Jaren Jackson in the lineup. And tonight they don't have him, and they won't for the rest of the year. So,
by the way, they were crazy good defensively when Edey was in the lineup. I feel like him being there, him being there for a short while, like impacted their overall rankings for the year like crazy. Which is another reason why you can't only look at overall season rankings. You got to look at more context, like how they've been doing lately, how they're doing with certain guys in and out of the lineup. So, but yeah, I agree. You got to have pieces to the Memphis thing. I'm a little bit, wary of like trusting like a Javon Small at 3.5K. Like the really cheap guys. The only really cheap guy that I feel good about is Prosper.
Yeah, I think the field's going to agree. I think he might be the chalkiest player on the slate, but it's not a bad thing. Just they don't have bigs, and he and Gigi are going to have to play a lot of front court minutes along with Kyle Anderson and Taylor Hendricks, I guess. Revenge game for those two against Utah.
I mean, you could get slow-mo and Hendricks legacy games here.
Yeah.
It's possible.
I think my favorite guy per the ownership is Jemai Meshack. 3,700 small forward. Looks like Jalen Wells is going to be popular. Jalen Wells is not a good per minute guy. I think that's pretty shaky chalk. And Meshack is the same position, Should play more than 20 minutes. He has been pretty good per minute. I think 0.92 DK points per minute so far this season, and no one's going to play him, it appears. So I like that quite a bit. If you need to get different or you want to fade Jalen Wells, just play Meshack instead. I like that a lot. Really, everyone on the Grizzlies is in play except for whoever Lawson Lovering is. Don't think you want to play him. But the others, like the other 8, are all like very strong plays.
He looks like the least playable guy ever.
Yeah.
Looks like he does not belong in the NBA.
Aaron Baines vibes.
Yeah, he's giving major Aaron Baines vibes. I like the Meshack call because I don't really like the Javon Smallchalk. 34%. Like, I'm sorry, that is extremely fadeable in my opinion. It also depends on what you want to do on this slate. I think 2 or 3 Grizzlies does make a lot of sense. Right now I'm at 2 personally. It just depends. Like, do you feel the need to go get a Spida, Jalen Johnson, or whatever? And if so, then obviously you can load up on these guys a little bit if you want to. I just don't think like any of them are going to be like getting crazy run. I think they're going to balance it out like they have been doing, all year. All right, next game here, Miami and Atlanta. Also, really good DFS environment. 243.5 total 3-point spread. The game's in Atlanta. The Hawks did play yesterday. They could be a little bit fatigued. Miami plays very fast. Hawks play fast and don't play defense. So this could be an extremely stackable game. Could be a game we want part of. The problem is Bam on FanDuel at 8.2K. I like that. I like Bam on FanDuel for sure. Bam at 9.2K on DraftKings with Norm and Hero back. That's a big F no for me. Could make him a GPP play for sure. I just don't think as center only, that's something I'm going to want to do. Norm coming back here at 7.2 feels a little bit steep. They're kind of at full strength here now. So nobody really stands out like 7.4 Hero at, limited. I don't think so. Jaime at 6.9. No, I just don't see anything here that I have to play. On FanDuel, I do think Bam looks really good. But other than that, on DraftKings, I'm kind of fading the heat.
Yeah, but you have all the money to spend on this slate.
True.
And not a lot of ways to spend it. So like I don't like Bam at 9.2. Yeah, that's a lot. But like on this slate, it's like, yeah, I'll pay for Bam. Like he's shown a ceiling. Atlanta is also an awesome matchup for bigs. I think they're 9th in terms of like fantasy production against opposing centers. Okongwu is not very good defensively or on the boards. It's also the worst rebounding team in the NBA. So yeah, Hero's back, Powell's back, not ideal, but Bam should be pretty low owned relative to like Jalen Johnson, maybe even those Cavs guards and Edwards. So if you want to get different with someone on the high end who still has a ceiling in a great game environment with a small spread, I think this is the way to do it.
It's viable.
Yeah,
I agree. And to me, it's just a price thing. And there's other guys in that price, Spida, Ant, that I would rather have. And also, hey, we do need to consider the fact that the Heat do have 2 high usage guys back in the lineup in Norm and Hero. And if you go look at the other games this year, when they have all those guys in, like Bam's been looking at like a 33% usage rate with them not there. And suddenly he's looking probably like a 25, So if that is what the reality is.
Sorry, it's just mostly a slate specific thing. Like,
sure,
if we had Jokic and SGA on this slate, yeah, like Bam at 9.2 is not someone that's really on my radar. But tonight, where everyone's going to play Jalen Johnson and probably some Anthony Edwards, it's like just a way to get a ceiling, access to a player that no one's going to play with upside at center only. So it's not ideal, but in a tournament, I think that's a pretty interesting way to play, especially because this game has the highest total and a small spread, and the Miami side is just not going to get any ownership. I think Powell might get a little just because he always kind of does. It is a really good matchup for Powell as well. And Wiggins also at 6.4, I think is worth a look just at 5% ownership max. In what could be a fast-paced game. I think that suits him pretty well.
What are these projected minutes, though? Like, this is projected to be a low or a high-scoring game and a tight spread here, and Bam's projected for just 33. So, I mean,
because the Heat have everyone available, but
yeah, but you wouldn't really think Bam would be limited in a high-scoring close game. You know?
I think that's on the low end. I don't think.
So great. To aid your argument, like you could be looking at a low projection here that nobody's going to want to commit to, and he could be coming in with a projection probably closer to like 46 or something, which would make him pretty darn appealing on this slate, and coming in for what, like the second best projection behind Jalen. So I agree, great tournament play, 100%. Price play though is obviously not something I'm super psyched about. Jalen Johnson, 10.5K, 59 fantasy points last night. He's been crushing, 59 plus in 6 straight games. Don't love targeting guys against Bam, but the game environment and his role and ceiling kind of negate that a little bit. They did play yesterday. Not the best spot in the world, and he's going to get ownership. I personally think this is a pretty good time to hop off the Jalen Johnson train, just because we do have some other guys that they're all like $1,000 cheaper. Like I'd rather play Ant. I'd rather take the spin on the Bam roulette wheel with you. I'd rather go get Spida. I'd rather go balanced. Like I think balance looks really good tonight on this slate. Doesn't mean you can't play Jalen. He's the top projecting play of the slate. He's facing a fast-paced Miami team, so there's that. I will not be playing him. Where are you at on him?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to play him just because I'm not only playing one lineup. I definitely see the case to fade. It's very similar to Maxey last night, where Maxey's going to be 50+% owned because he's the main guy people want to pay for. And maybe it doesn't work out. It is a back-to-back. Miami, while they play fast, they are good defensively. And Atlanta is the team with the rest disadvantage in this spot. So it could get away from the Hawks. Like, predicting blowouts in games with tight spreads, not generally a good idea. I don't think that'll happen in this game, but it could. So that's the case to fade Johnson. That's like the easiest way to just get different from the field, because I do think he's going to be like 50+% owned tonight. But he also has the best projection on the slate, the highest floor on the slate, the highest ceiling on the slate. So obviously, if you fade him, you're at risk of losing the guy who can put up the score you have to have. But, you can't play scared in this game. So I'm okay with that. Obviously, a great play in a vacuum.
Yeah.
Nothing really to add. Like, I think if you're playing one lineup, it's a very scary fade. But there's merit to it. As far as the rest of the Hawks, I'm not super interested. I think Dyson at 6-1 is getting pretty cheap, but he's also been quite terrible all season. So, like, he's getting cheap for a reason. Alexander Walker, McCollum are just like secondary, large field, low-owned plays.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Jalen is a great play in a vacuum. I'm souring on him a little bit on this slate at that price, and the other options I like more. And I'm not playing anybody else for Atlanta either. Obviously, Nah is always a good leverage play on Jalen if he's going to be chalky, and he should be. So there's that, but I don't really want to play him either. Dallas and Minnesota, this game is a 15-point spread, no Cooper Flag. So probably a blowout. You could play for it not to be, because if it's not, Najee Marshall at 6'3" could be awesome. I think he's a really good play at that price. He has a massive role when he has the team to himself. He can score really well. He can, create offense for everybody else. So he looks really interesting. Does not project very well, and there's blowout risk, and it's not a good matchup on the road. A lot of red flags there. But when he has these types of roles, he tends to do pretty well. A good per minute guy. So I think he looks pretty good. Brandon Williams, in theory, at 5'1" would look good. It looks really chalky, so right away, like, I'm okay not doing that. PJ Washington at 6'2", the usage is there. Like, he's going to have the opportunity to help carry the offense, and if he and Najee can keep it close, like, they both could absolutely smash at these price tags. That's probably it. Like, if Gafford's out, I guess we could look at Bagley at 4'4". I suppose we could look at Bagley anyways, but I don't really want to do that. And then if Caleb Martin is questionable, so if you wanted to and he's not in, you could look at Chris Middleton or Clay Thompson. But again, don't see the point in doing that.
Yeah, I don't think so on this slate. I do think Bagley is the one that you would want. It is a really brutal spot, though, against Gobert. I still think Bagley would be worth a shot because he is an awesome per minute producer, and he's 4,400. And, don't think he's going to get a lot of ownership, even if we get this news before lock, because people are playing Memphis and other stuff, maybe Indiana, Washington, all that shit. So Bagley's okay. I do think Williams is good, like 5'1". He seems perpetually too cheap. I feel like he should be upwards of 6K by now, especially with Cooper Flag out, but he hasn't been. He started the last game before the break. Just a lot of usage for him. Good per minute guy. Even if he plays 25 to 30, I think he can still get there for you at 5-1. So I'm good with that. I think the ownership gulf between Najee and PJ is interesting just because they're not that dissimilar. Najee has the better positional eligibility, so I think that's driving the ownership. But don't mind that pivot, straight line to PJ if you can make it happen. But yeah, I'm not that excited about any of it. I think Williams is easily the best play even into that ownership, but it's a rough spot.
Yep, we disagree on the Brandon Williams discourse, but I get it. Cheap usage, projects well, but everything else to me looks pretty bad at that ownership. Minnesota on the other side, they have a cakewalk matchup. Ant looks great at 9.4K. He is my preferred stud. If I'm paying over 9K for anybody on the slate, he is the one I'm paying for, especially with ownership going towards Jalen Johnson. Julius Randle looks good at 8.4. Nothing wrong with Julius Randle either. $1,000 cheaper. Projection's not that far off. I still prefer Ant, but if you could certainly talk me into either one of them. Gobert could absolutely clean up in this matchup. So he is a decent mid-range play at 6.4K. Not getting there right now, but I wouldn't be sad if I landed on him. Nas, McDaniels, DiVincenzo, DeSumo, I think they're all kind of the same. If I was going to play anybody there, it'd be Nas off the bench. But yeah, I love Ant on this slate, and I'm okay with getting into pretty much anybody here, to be honest.
Yeah, usually I wouldn't be that interested in playing Edwards and Randall together, but I think on this slate you can, just because, again, we don't have a ton to pay for. And Minnesota has a 127 total, which is the highest on the slate. So in theory, they can both get there for you. Less likely in a blowout. It does have a 15-point spread, so it's kind of a give or take. But if you want to lean into it being a competitive enough game, both are great plays. Randall's clearly underpriced. Edwards is going to get a lot of ownership, as he should. So it's just kind of a thing where, like, you're not excited to pay for him and Jalen Johnson when they're all going to be 40+% owned, but it's kind of the way the slate is. So you have to find a way to get different. I think my favorite way to get different is just to get different within the value on Memphis, like Meshack, like we talked about. Otherwise, I do agree Gobert's okay. The issue is, like, if the game does blow out, he's certainly not going to be someone who's really thriving in that situation. Center's always rich with value as well. So he's fine. Don't love it. I think Nas is okay. I think I prefer Nas just because power forward eligibility. That's about it. Probably not playing Io or DiVincenzo or any of the guards except for Edwards.
No, yeah, I mean, I'm with you on all that. My main thing is, like, am I paying up today for somebody? If I do, it's probably going to be Ant. I really like the idea of going balanced on this slate. I think there's just so many good second tier and high mid-range options. Speaking of which, Bucks and Pelicans, this is my favorite game to attack on this slate. I do not know what's up with this game total, 223.5. I know the Bucks are not trustworthy, and I guess certainly neither are the Pels. Bucks are without Miles Turner. They're without Giannis. Trey Murphy's not playing for the Pels. So it could be a shitfest, admittedly, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be targeted very heavily by the field. KPJ is going to get a little ownership, as he should, 7.8. He's too cheap. He looks awesome. I love him. Pels are just a dream spot across the board. They don't stop you at all. The Bucks are a very good three-point shooting team as well, and they are very bad at giving up threes. They're actually good at defending threes, but they give up, like, the most threes, I think, or the second most threes in the league, and the second most makes. So it is a good matchup for Milwaukee. Their team total is very low, but I would bet the over in a big way. So love KPJ. I think Ryan Rollins pairing them together is kind of interesting, actually. It's because they're both high usage guys. I will say that historically Rollins is way better when KPJ and Giannis are not on the floor. So you don't have to pair them at all. And I prefer KPJ. I'm not in on Bobby or Kuz at those prices. The other interesting thing here would be Dieng at 4K if he starts again. Miles Turner's out, so it's possible. At 4K, like, you could take a flyer on him and hope that happens. So that'd be all right. But I just think KPJ looks really good here. And if you want to get to Rollins, whether it be as leverage or pairing, I think that's okay.
Yeah, I think, Rollins is the obvious leverage play. I don't think people are really wanting to play him. With Porter in the lineup, he's just generally had a lower floor and a lower ceiling. But it's an obvious lever you can pull at a similar salary. Like if Porter's going to be 30% owned and Rollins is under 10 and you need the ownership discount, that's a pretty easy pivot to make. Obviously, Porter's the better play. He's a better per minute guy. The minutes have been strong. Not really concerned about a blowout in this game, given the state of both teams. I'm okay with it. It's interesting with the rest of them. Like I want to like Bobby Portis because New Orleans really gives it up to bigs. No Giannis, no Turner. He could play 30 minutes. But there is a lot of fragility here. We don't really know the Bucks' motivation. I think they have a pick swap with the Pelicans. Like the Bucks get the worst of the two picks in the draft. So like the Bucks don't really have a lot of incentive to just tank this game, especially. But and the Jang thing is very interesting as well. Like why wouldn't they give him all the minutes he can handle? He's a former lottery pick. They basically got him for free from the Thunder. Looked great in that start before the break. And no Turner. Like, what do you have to lose? Like, why bother with Portis and Kuzma and AJ Green when you can just see what this guy has? So, like, if Jang is starting at 4K, I would gladly go back to the well with that, even with Portis and stuff playing.
Doesn't really seem like that is a guy that is on people's radar because the other value, like, obviously the other value does look better. But if you're looking at tourneys, like, I think Jang looks really interesting. By the way, Bucks are motivated. Like, Giannis is going to come back at some point. I was on the other side of this thing for a while thinking Giannis was gone, but the Bucks are 6-1 over their last 7 games. They look pretty good actually right now. I mean, hey, they're 6-1. They've been playing well. So they're going to try to win. Whether they're going to or not, that's open for debate. But I don't really understand why they're underdogs in this game. The Pels are missing one of their best scorers in Trey Murphy. They're 15-41. Like, they're not good. You know, they're really bad. I don't know how they're like automatically almost 5-point favorites, even though they're at home. Doesn't make much sense to me. Anyways, I think the Bobby Portis thing is interesting. I'm mostly on KPJ and Jang. You can always play Cam Thomas at 4-7 as well, just like as a pivot away from all this Grizzlies stuff. Just because high usage guy off the bench, he could explode. He did in his debut. So, or was it his second game? Whatever the case. But yeah, like Bucks against the Pels, like Pels against the Bucks. Zion with no Trey Murphy, that projection feels a little low maybe. Like he could smash here at 7-9. The Bucks don't have Giannis or Miles Turner to defend down low, so he could be really aggressive there and take advantage. But somebody I like a little bit more, or maybe even a lot of it more, is going to be Derek Queen. Just feels like an absolute smash at 6K. Really good projection. He's going to get a usage bump. So he looks really good. I also really like Jeremiah Fears. I'm interested to see where this ownership falls as far as like all this Memphis love and people looking at, you know, Indiana, Washington, because he's 4.8K. He's playing 30 minutes now. Clearly they're letting him just run with it. And obviously now Trey Murphy's out, so another usage bump there. So like he looks really good at that price. I'm just super into this game, and especially since it doesn't seem like, you know, the field is being overly aggressive with it.
Yeah, it looks like the Pelicans are going to get some ownership. The Bucks, it's really just Porter in this game, but obviously it's a good spot. Both teams are bad. The Bucks defense has been pretty good against like post bigs, but that's with Miles Turner for the most part.
Right.
So kind of throw that out the window. Like it's not a great spot on paper for Zion or Queen, but without Murphy, they should be fine. I think Queen is kind of dicey chalk. At 6K, like he is affordable. We've seen a ceiling from him, but we've also seen the minutes just get pulled, yanked around all over the place. So there is a wide range of outcomes for him. And if the field's playing him with a lot of confidence, I don't mind coming in under that. Zion does look a bit cheap. I think among the spends, he's not like a true spend, but very good way to play, like you said, a more balanced kind of build. You're going to have more than enough money to pay all the way up for Johnson and somebody else, or Edwards and somebody else. So doing that with Zion is totally fine with me, especially if Queen is going to be the chalkier of the two. And then that's kind of some leverage you get with Williamson a little bit. I think Bay's pretty good without Murphy, just a bit more usage. They need shooting on the wing. Bay's just kind of expensive, but we've seen ceiling from him. And then Fears, I think, is fine. He and Brandon Williams are very similar plays, but the game environment looks a bit better for Fears.
I mean, I think Fears as a pivot away from Brandon Williams is amazing at half the ownership. I mean, that's what I'm going to be doing. So I think that's the thing. It's like anytime you see chalky guys who are, yes, they're good plays. If there's somebody comparable that you can just slide over to at like a half or third of the ownership, like that's what I want to do. So not saying Brandon Williams is a bad play. I'm just saying I will take my chances with Jeremiah Fears. I think the Zion thing is interesting. I still think you compare Zion with Derek Queen just because, you know, Trey Murphy's leaving behind like what 27% usage rate or something. Like he is involved a lot. So unknown really how that trickles out to the rest of the Pels offense. But I'm personally going to take a chance at Derek Queen. Don't love the ownership necessarily, but just too cheap. I'm gonna roll the dice there for sure, and I'm gonna be personally loading up on this game. Last game of the night, Nets against OKC. That feels bad. The Nets have a 97.5 implied team total. Not great. Michael Porter Jr. is he in?
He's not on the report.
Okay, so he's back. I don't think Nick Claxton's back though.
Nope, he's out.
So with Nick Claxton out, you can still play Dameron Sharp if you want. 6'2" with his per minute production and usage here. I think he's playable, and especially since nobody wants to play him against OKC. But is the game going to stay close? Is he going to have success against Hartenstein down low? Probably not. So I'm not doing it. I can see why you might want to do it in tournaments. So there's that. MPJ always in play in tournaments. The projection looks terrible, but we know he has high usage rate, and if they're going to keep it close, he's probably going to come out and drop like 40 points. Nolan Traore, he did great again yesterday. He's been crushing. So I think at 4.9, he is a decent value once again, even in a tough spot, because obviously OKC is going to focus on doing what? Stopping MPJ first and foremost. So not a priority with all the other value we have here, but he is a value that could be overlooked.
Yeah, he was not great last night, but he's been okay overall. Just a lot of bodies here.
He wasn't great.
Horrible matchup, even with OKC being shorthanded. A lot of bodies. Porter, Sharp is okay, but not cheap.
By the way, he did get 30 minutes again, so they are actually kind of extending him on a regular basis, which is nice.
Yeah, there's no need. You have Williams, you have Fears. Just I don't care about the ownership in those situations.
I agree.
I would say Danny Wolf is kind of interesting just because he's going to get garbage time if/when they get blown out. The issue is even when he's playing well, he's giving you like 35. And at 5,800, are you winning a tournament with a low-owned guy getting you 35? Probably not. So really no need to mess around. Like I think you can play Sharp and Wolf, not together, but no thank you.
Yeah. I'm not playing any Nets. Let's just make that clear. I'm not playing Brooklyn on the slate. If I was going to play any Nets, I think Traore is okay at that price, especially since there are guys in that range. Or I'd play Sharp. Not really psyched about paying a premium to take a chance and hope MPJ gets there. OKC on the other side, obviously, pretty good spot for their bigs. Hartenstein's limited, though. Chet is super expensive, and there is blowout risk. I think you can play Chet in GPPs for sure. Like, you can come out and get a 50 burger at 8.7K and pay off, but I just don't think that's how I want to spend my money on this slate. Like, I think it's reasonable to expect this game isn't close, and we don't get more than 30 minutes out of Chet. Hartenstein, he can actually get there in limited fashion at 6'3". I just don't think I'm going to take that gamble. And then after that, like you're really just taking a shot for no real reason. Isaiah Joe, Jalen Williams, Jared McCain. Like why are we doing that? We don't need to.
Yeah, maybe on a slate that didn't have good cheap value, you can consider guys like that. I think Joe is okay, just because he's probably going to start. We've seen some upside from him. He can score. They don't have a lot of guys who can score, honestly. It's like him and Chet, and to a lesser extent, Wiggins and like Jared McCain. So I think Joe's fine as a lower owned shooting guard value under 5K. Hartenstein, I think I'd rather play Sharp, even though I don't really want to play either. Just very low minutes floor for him. Like if the game blows out, they're going to bench him at the first opportunity. And it probably will because it has like a 17-point spread. So not really a team worth. They're like a good version of the Nets. Like just too many bodies. They eat into each other. just a fade for me.
Yeah, I'm ignoring this game completely. And if anybody watching that feels compelled to get a late game body, there's 2 late games at 8 Eastern here. And if you're going to do that, I would go after the Pels Bucks game. Yeah, all right, that is going to do it for us. Thank you for anybody who tuned in live or watches it later. Hopefully we can help you out, get you a win today. If you want extra help, head over to dfsbuild.com. Check out the premium content tab at the top of the page, and you can get access to everything that we push out for just $5.99 a month. If you just want free advice, you can head over to Discord, or be sure to subscribe to this channel to catch more videos just like this. Thanks for watching, and good luck.